Hey there, guys. Thanks for joining us on another Battle Knights Battle Report. And we are carrying on with our 40...
Battle Knights? Isn't this Doom Dark Side's hobby channel or
No, that's changed. It's changed. Right, so we're carrying on with our 40k campaign, which Michael has been running for us for the last year.
We've had two battles. Yeah. No, we started in the summer because we were outside.
What's this word you speak of? Summer.
It's that week in between the autumn and the winter.
That's right, yeah, where other people tell us how hot it is. Okay, so if you want to check out the other battles, you can check out on Mike's channel, Teamclueless 40k, for the second battle, or this channel for the first battle. And I'll try and stick some links right here where these figures are. It's unlikely.
It'll probably be somewhere like...
Yeah. Right, so I'm going to point the camera at Mike, as this is his baby, so he can explain to us.
I'm not going to go through the rules, I'm going to sit here reading bits of paper. So today's mission is called All Out War. So if you pan back for the tables, Jace, the idea is we've got this big table.
Oh yeah, sorry.
This table is a big dusty plain where two tank forces are going to meet and battle it out. Underneath this dusty plain there is a secret facility which is represented by the Zone Mortalis here, which John and Ash are going to be fighting another battle for. There are various ways that the two battles are linked, which I'll go through about now. So first of all, the game ends when either myself or Jason, who are playing on the main table, have all of our vehicles either destroyed or immobilised. It ends at the end of that game turn, so the people on the table below don't get any control over when their game ends, because it ends simultaneously with ours. Loads of special rules in effect, as there often are for my missions. The first one is that Jason and I get to take some spearhead upgrades from the old spearhead expansion. Things like we can give invulnerable saves to our vehicles by tank hunter for them, things like that. So we've all included those in our army list. Other rules in effect are this top plane of the board is a dusty plane, and it's really flat and solid, meaning tanks get to add 3 inches to all their movement options during the movement phase. So they can counter standing still if they move 3 inches. They can move normally to go 9, or they can go speedy and get 15 inches out of their movement, so just adds a bit more vehicle movement for them. It's also really dusty, meaning everything gets +1 cover save as long as it's not immobilised, so it kicks up dust from their tracks. In the centre of the board there is an upload relay. If one of our units controls that at the beginning of one of our turns, then the people on their side on the lower board get preferred enemy and move through cover that turn as we tap into the relay and can scan the base below and transmit the information to them. Down in the lower board, in each corner, Jason painted up these really nice control consoles and then left them at home. So in the corner we've just got some random bits of terrain. They are control consoles for 4 turrets up on the main table. So you can see those there, and there. They also mark out the area of the board on which the Zone Mortalis table is underneath.
So if you think the Zone Mortalis is 4 corners, or where those 4 guns are.
If the people on the lower board control these consoles, then they get to fire these guns during the shooting phase. So one of their unit gets to fire this gun, and they're pretty powerful guns. They've got Strength 9, AP 1, their primary weapons, their blasts, and they have advanced auspexes, which give -1 cover saves against them. So pretty powerful, and they're really solid to destroy. I've given them stats so they can be destroyed, but it's highly unlikely we'll ever try because they're really tough. They've got void shields, they're AV-15, they're mighty bulwarks. So they're really hard to kill.
Rather just shoot at each other.
Yeah, basically. One of the other rules in effect is there's an unstable ceiling to this Zone Mortalis. So when any of the vehicles on the top table get destroyed in an explosion effect, we work out which part of the board they're above. All of these are obviously Zone Mortalis tiles, so they're 1x1 sections. So we work out which 1x1 section the explosion happens above, and then roll on a little table, because everyone likes a table, to see what happens. If it's a super heavy vehicle exploding, because we've got, I think, 5 super heavies on the table, then you get either +1, +2, or +3 on the result, depending on how big the explosion is. And the effects go from falling dust, giving everything pluses to their cover save, to a massive cave-in where every model on that board section has to make a strength test or take a wound with no saves, and the whole board becomes difficult terrain as it's all rubbled and blown in. As far as the campaign goes, there are special rewards for winning the 2 separate tables. So on the top table, once one side has been fully immobilised or destroyed, the other side then gets to win at the end of that game turn. they get to choose any 2 of their vehicles or 1 super heavy vehicle, which is still operative, and they get to include that for free in the final mission of the campaign, which is 2 more games to go. So in the 5th game, they get a 3 vehicle that's a super heavy or 2 3 other vehicles, as long as they have them survive this game. On the lower board, the side which controls this computer terminal in the centre, they get to uncover 3 secret objectives at the start of the next game we're playing. Mission 4 of the campaign has got lots of buried secret objectives on the table. Some of them will be blank, and they'll be looking for 3 particular relics that are buried randomly on the table. So they'll get to look at some of the uncovered tokens at the start of the game to give them quite a big advantage in trying to dig up the relics. So there's stuff to play for as far as the campaign goes on, because each of these missions tries to build something into them which carries on through the rest of the campaign. And I think that is all of the rules written out.
Wow.
Only like 4 A4 sheets.
Don't worry, I'll put a button where you guys can just skip past this
just
rambler.
Get to the fighting.
Suddenly realise I'm not liking this. 'Cause he can split his 10 men into like.
Well, yeah.
Well, combat squads,
But you
yeah.
get to scout his entire army and make your army list after seeing it.
What a terrible week list tailor. I've never been able to list tailor for love of money.
Ash lost his rule book at home before he came this one. He's had to make his army out when he
Proper
arrived.
chaos shenanigans. My partner in crime is John.
I don't know where.
Alright, let's have a quick look at the armies. This is my 3,000 points. My army is led by this
It's 3,000, yeah. Whoa.
tank commander Vanquisher with his 2 buddies in battle tanks. I've got an executioner, I think, and an eradicator.
That's a demolisher.
That is a demolition,
That's
isn't it?
the plasma one.
Yeah, that's an executioner.
Executioner, yeah.
Battle tank,
Baneblade.
Baneblade, and a shadow sword, and then these are 3 las cannon armored sentinels with hunter
With
killer
killer
missiles.
missiles.
And then I've also got 3 vendettas. So that's my 3,000
You got a
points.
knight.
Oh yes, look at this big bad boy.
I think he's a Knight Crusader, is he? The one with the melter gun?
Yeah.
So that's my 3,000 points,
Knight Errant, in fact.
and I'm going to be fighting against Michael. So I'm going to hand the camera to him so he can go over his army.
Okay, so this is my 3,000 points. Because I don't own that many Chaos vehicles, we have conscripted the Imperial Guard from the planet onto our side.
captured from the last mission.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, the cow stuff, we've got a couple of soul grinders. Jason and I are playing Unbound list, in case you can't tell. So I've got a couple of soul grinders. One's Nurgle, one is Tzeentch, one has the kind of like the beam power, and one has the phlegm power. I have down here a Forge Fiend. I have a Helldrake up there. He's got the autocannon mouth. I know you'd never thought you'd never see one, but he doesn't have the flamer. I have a Hellbrute there with a twin link las cannon. Then as far as Imperial Guard go, we've got a Baneblade. We've got 3 Lemon Russes. One is similar to Jason, a Vanquisher, which is the tank commander. He has a, whatever that one is, one with a twin linked autocannon, and I've got a Demolisher as a separate one. 2 Vendettas. I have at the back a Hydra flak tank, and I have brought a Death Strike missile launcher as well. And I have a Knight Errant with an upgraded missile launcher on top, and he's got a little melter gun built in. So that is my force that's going to oppose Jason. Let's see what John is bringing.
Okay.
I'll just,
It should be easy. I just moved a very vital objective marker out of the way, but we can remeasure it. Don't worry. So this is an Ultramarines interdiction force. The conscripted, not conscripted, the Imperial Guard. They've just given up. They've gone home because they're terrible. Nice simple army. I've got 2 full tactical squads, which you can see arrayed in the front. They're WYSIWYG. So there's a missile launcher and a flamer in each.
John is definitely winning the Best Looking Army Award here.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Those bases are sexy.
Old
Yeah.
school, clear bases. So we've got those.
They're standing on their own feet, man.
Yeah,
I
true.
can't see no bases.
They're invisible.
He's racing to match the board.
Wow. And wait till he moves them to that board. He's going to rebase them just like that.
I know, right? There's a Terminator squad with Cyclone, nothing special there. Another Terminator assault squad, all with Thunderhammers, Storm Shields. And then the commander, a bit thematic. I got the old Tech Marine with 4 servitors. He's got a few relics. You'll see during the game.
Yeah, we're not going to go for a whole lot
No.
of lists and stuff.
And I will be facing Ash with his army of...
So, John is facing my Plague Marine force.
I am actually facing it as well.
Yes, he is. So I've got my Lord as per standard. He's been in all the games, so hopefully he'll survive this one as well.
Because he's unkillable.
He's not unkillable. 2 reduced size Plague Marines units rather than 10 man. Terminators.
Have you gone for Nurgle's holy number? You have. You got 7.
Terminators with the mark of Nurgle. I know they look blue and Zinchi, but it's just confusion.
Everyone's watching is colourblind.
And
It's like a dress.
the 2 obliterators. Are they black or blue? Who knows? And a Dreadnought, which isn't WYSIWYG. He actually has the multi-melter, because I don't have the points to upgrade to missile launcher. So that is everything.
Okay, folks. So this is our deployment. And I'll start with me down this end. I have no idea what I'm doing, so all my tanks are just arrayed like that.
But you do have first turn.
Yes.
So.
I got all my Vendettas and my Knights on flank, and obviously Vendettas are in reserve. But then I've just arrayed all my tanks in front of my Baneblades, thinking they'll give them a bit of more cover, I suppose. And then the Baneblades are at the back there, and I've moved forward as far as possible as I can. Across this side is Mike's deployment. I don't know if he has any special means of why he deployed like that, do you?
You got first turn, so everything gets +1 cover save because of the plane, and it's night fighting turn 1, so cover saves are reasonably good, but the 2 big things can explode rather large. So I don't want them close to my other units in case they explode and do a Titanic explosion. And also, I put them at the sides of the board, so if you target them with your big blast shots, you've got a chance of scattering off the board, which nullifies your shot. So there is some tactics.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm hoping to steal the initiative, that's my main tactic. And all your stuff's clumped up, so I can just kill it all.
This is John's deployment. He's obviously holding the first 2 computer terminals, one down there and one over here, which means he owns those 2 guns over there, but they can't fire on the first turn.
Yeah,
they
they're
have
booting up. And
They're warm up.
Definitely not
This is obviously Windows 3.5 or something.
yeah. No, this is Windows
Full stop.
XP or something.
So that's his deployment.
Windows 2000,
You're
that
not
would be a
getting one
Trojan's
of
one.
those. There's no way I'm spending in. Actually, they can find
What was your warlord trait, John?
Rights of War. So everyone in my detachment can use the 2 rooms leadership of 9.
Are they all leadership? No, they're leadership out, aren't they?
Most are actually, because of
So the
pretty much
Marines
veteran army.
have swarmed into the front of this complex.
Where are their bases?
I don't know.
They don't need bases, they're real people. And this is Ashen's continuous deployment. I think he's just moving them around.
Ash has forgotten to take anyone in his army to control the consoles to fire the giant guns he's been given. It's as if I didn't send him a multiple sheet A4 spreadsheet of rules.
No, you didn't. Like, you sent it to him, and then I got it like 2 days ago, and I didn't have time to read it. And I also assumed that these things would be somewhere in the middle, and we'd be fighting over them rather than.
No, you're trying to protect them, and you're fighting over this thing.
Well, not my fault. I assumed that we'd be fighting over these turret things.
I love the dissension in the ranks every game. Go on in.
So this is the seize the initiative roll, which is all important on a 6. Do you want to blow, Jace?
No. Wait, what are we talking about?
Lucky escape.
Oh. All right.
And they get first turn.
We'll come back after turn 1.
If we've got anything left, the game will be over. Turn 1.
Okay, so this is the end of Imperial turn 1, and I'm showing you my forces because they might not look like this at the end of the next turn.
Get a good picture, my friend. Get a good picture.
So I moved forward and I started this side and I fired across the table. So I did 1 whole point to the Baneblade, 2 whole points to Soul Grinder.
And you also took his Harvester cannon, the really bad gun.
That's
off his
right.
arm,
Watch
that
out.
I never intend to fire.
I took 1 whole point of that, 2 whole points of that, and 1 whole point of that.
Because that's our night.
Yeah, that's how my knight came on flanking over there. Came on.
One of the spearhead upgrades is outflank turn, and you get to roll on turn 1. So Jason's knight came on to deal with those, but his melter cannon misfired.
Right now, before you ridicule me, I'll tell you what I was thinking during that turn.
You've had a tiny amount of insignificant damage on everything.
I was a little worried about the Baneblade, obviously. After the first shot with the D cannon, and it only took off one whole point, Michael saved the other one. I decided I needed to get rid of this thing instead, because that's just going to run across the table and flip my tanks.
And
so
then-
I fired everything I had over here, even that one as well, at that, and it's got a 3+ cover save, so it saved everything. And also I rolled a
As I said
abysmally.
earlier, everything's got higher cover saves, so actually things are a bit more protected. And also, one of these spearhead upgrades I bought was I've given a 5+ invuln save to my Baneblade, which Jason's given to his Shadow Sword, so everything's a lot more survivable than it may usually be.
I didn't actually fire it, it got hit by a template and put a hull point on it. Those two also got hit by the template, but I couldn't penetrate because I couldn't roll
Story
over
of
it.
Jason's
I
life.
can't roll over a 2. And then I felt the same thing because I got a obviously army of tanks over there. I felt the same thing about that thing. So I was hoping to basically fire everything on this side of the board at that and everything on that side of the board at that to get rid of these two things. Unfortunately, I couldn't get through the cover saves and I can't roll over 2. And then the knights needed to get rid of that thing because I got 3 vendettas coming on soon. The melter gun did nothing, by the way. That was done by a heavy stubber.
This giant melter gun.
Yeah, did not. So that was the state of my side of the battle. I've pinged off a lot of things and wounded a lot of things. Let's see how the guys did underneath. John, I hope you did better. What did you do?
What do you mean?
Well, if you didn't lose anything, you did better.
Well, this is true. Everything's moved up. There's very limited view of field here, so everything moved and ran in my turn. The only shot that was fired was this missile launcher.
Rocket launcher.
It did hit though.
He hit.
There's a missile launcher.
He hit, he wounded, but he's wearing tactical dreadnought armour, so
You can even see. Look at that.
he's saved. And that's it. Now
Well, we control 2 of the guns,
This is true.
and everything else is moving up towards the relay station.
Yep.
And what? Oh, Ashton has another
Ah,
turn.
That's why he kind of lost.
Okay, let's get killing some tanks.
Right, so we'll be back at the end of the game, which is soon.
Michael, you need.
Okay, so this was end of the Alliance of Chaos turn 1. So my plan this turn was to blow up the Shadow Sword because it's got a big D weapon and it's above this area of the table down here, so I was hoping it would explode and then put some damage on John's units down below. So I opened fire. I had an outflanked turn 1 vehicle as well, which was my Forge Fiend. It came on the back. I used my Demon Fuse, didn't hurt myself, but didn't really hurt Jason much either. My Knight strode over here. I fired my little melter gun down here, just to pling that so I could assault it in close combat, which I did later on and cut it in half. I fired my big melter blast over here, took a whole point off, and I've immobilised this vehicle here. And my Storm Spear missiles managed to take 2 whole points off the big boy. Combined fire from a load of other stuff, all this stuff around here basically, took out all 3 Sentinels, which were giving the Shadow Sword a bigger cover save, and I've also put 6 total hull points on the Shadow Sword. You can see my Death Strike missile fired turn 1. As I've got the second player turn, I get to attempt to fire it. Fires on a 4+, launched over, did a glancing hit to it, and I think blew up a single Sentinel. That was worth 160 points. Other stuff, I basically ignored the Knight down here because I didn't think I had the firepower to take it out. So, and because it's super heavy, it doesn't lose any effectiveness from shooting it, so I just ignored it and piled everything forward to try and get out of its range. This thing tried to assault forwards after shooting, failed, but everything else was basically rolled forwards and put an okay amount of hull points. We got another hull point on Jason's Baneblade, but mainly the Shadow Sword is looking badly damaged, so hopefully next turn, fingers crossed, might be able to finish it off.
Okay, so on the Zone Mortalis board, I basically walked away from both of these guns. I've left the guns. I've left the 2 guns.
Don't need him.
Okay, because I've got, like, I might walk back towards them, so don't worry about that. Sorry about the, this tripod's making things a bit difficult. However, my shooting was reasonably productive in that I took out 3 Terminators, 1 from the tactical squad over there, and 2 from the assault squad there with running. That was quite fast. Running assault cannons from the obliterators, which actually caused them to run backwards slightly. So yeah, apart from that, a little bit of jockeying for position, waiting for people to pop out in fire lanes and stuff like that. See you next turn.
Alright, so after the disastrous turn 1, turn 2 looks a little bit better for the Imperium. My turn, my 2 Vendettas turned up, and I backed up my Bane Blades as I foolishly moved forward. But the objective was obviously is to get that relay comms over there.
Yeah, it helps people on the lower board if you get that.
So I decided to push the Bane Blades back a bit and keep the rest of the army moving forward. Except this, I think it's called the Eradicator, turned around because obviously I had this Morphine thing looking at the back here. Also, this is turn 2, so we get to fire the guns, or at least John does, because he owns that.
Yeah, it must be nice having an ally that like, takes control of guns is going to help you out in the fight
It
to
must be
win.
nice to have an ally who's stuff doesn't blow up, killing your stuff.
So that gun there and this gun there both fired on there, putting a whole point on each of them. My Eradicator did nothing to it, and I also fired this las cannon and this las cannon at it because they're swivel turrets, which finally took it down, so I killed that. Over there, all 3 of those tanks fired on that, and believe it or not, those did nothing because it was this tank that killed it off with the las cannon, the big guns on top.
It was the big gun that did it, at the end, wasn't it?
So I took out the Soul Grind over there, which I'm super happy about. Some more fun happened on this side, as there was another Soul Grind over there. It got obliterated by my D cannon,
weapon.
and also put 3 more hull points on this Bane Blade.
Just a point of note for D weapons, we use the ITC rules for D weapons. So when you roll a 6, you still ignore all saves, but it does far less damage than D weapons do normally. So they're not just instant delete weapons.
Okay, cool.
Just so people know.
So I was having a pretty good turn, but that wasn't all. I had a
After about 15 promptings, you remember
the camouflaged knight fired its, what do you call it, the D-melter
It's
thing.
a giant melter gun.
Onto them, it scattered off. I think it maybe put 1 whole point on the...
It did. You went in and chopped it up with your giant sword.
Then the heavy stubber almost took it out, which meant I could have assaulted that thing at the back there, but oh no, I couldn't. But it didn't. He saved it. I then charged in and smashed it up.
Don't forget, you almost did shoot yourself.
Yeah, it's just 1 inch off shooting me. But the fun part was this. See this crater here? That's where the Soul Grinder was. It got like a massive detonation, exploded, and caused a collapse in over here.
Yep.
And we'll have John explain what happened there. Go on then, John.
Whoa, I got to take it as well. So the rules state you roll on the chart. The charty chart.
Read them.
And we rolled a 6, which is a catastrophic collapse or something like
It's
that.
a major collapse.
Major calamity. So I got to place. No, I got to place a large blast and scatter it. Fortunately, it hit. It hit 5 of the Plague Marines, the Lord, and the Reaper Autocannon Terminator that was there. Did quite a few wounds on the old Nurgle Marines, but he saved 2. I did 5 wounds, in fact. Saved 2 with armour, saved another 2 with Feel No Pain. So only 1 of those went down. Lord shrugged it off, he couldn't care less, and the Terminator did a die. So that was fun. And that was it. The rest of my turn, well...
You ran away.
It is very chess-like at the moment. So this combat squad just moved away, anticipating bad guys coming around the corner. This unit stayed here on the turret controls and did a bit of shooting.
That's a good idea, John.
I know.
It's a terrible idea.
This conga line did a similar thing. The missile launcher's just waiting there for a shot, but his bodies have moved in. So another combat squad are getting ready to breach and clear nothingness. The assault marines, which rallied, they moved to the corner, and then they ran up there. And then the boss, he's staying true to the machine god's will, and he's gonna head in there.
He's going to destroy that door
and
which
push
Machine
some
God
buttons.
hates.
What else? Oh, that was also good. Shooting phase for the tactical Terminators. The Cyclone put only 1 whole point on the Dreadnought, but it also immobilised it. So that's a win. Yay! And now that's blocking that, so everything's gonna snake around here. Woo! Come in there.
Yep.
So that's the end of our turn 2.
Sounds like
And
fun.
I'm hoping Michael's stuff doesn't blow up and kill me anymore.
Hopefully, we'll see.
Love the chaos bickering.
Right, Cal's turn 2.
Shut up. Shut up, the smug git. Okay, so this is Chaos Alliance turn 2. On the big table, I moved stuff forwards. I got 1 Vendetta and 1 Helldrake on. I then basically shuffled everything around. I'm saying basically too much. I'm running away from this knight over here because I don't really want to put much firepower onto it because it would explode at the back, possibly hurt some of Ash's stuff. Although Ash is leaving his 2 control consoles alone, so this turn I really needed a couple of extra high power anti-tank shots. These 2 guns here fell silent because Ash has left his post, so I'm getting no supporting fire. This turn, this thing had 3 hull points left. I managed to do 6 last turn, so I thought 3 this turn, no problem. I fired everything on the table at it, other than my Imperial. No, my Imperial Knight fired his rockets at it. I fired everything else on the table at that exclusively. I did 2 hull points. Jason's 5-up invuln saves because he's got he's got one of the spearhead upgrades, gives him a 5-up invuln on that. He just kept making any that I got through. I was cocking up rolls. I fired my Helldrake, my Vendetta, all fired at it. The Helldrake has the Hades autocannon, and it's got a Arcania Tech upgrade that gives it +1 strength on all its shooting attacks. So it's strength 9 from its Hades autocannon. Still was not enough. Just did nothing. 2 hull points. It's still kicking.
You did take out the Eradicator.
Oh yeah, I took out an Eradicator, and the Imperial Knight took out the Vanquisher in close combat. So, not the end of the world, but not a good turn. Let's see how Ash got down on the lower board. I'm assuming because guns had fallen silent, that meant he was charging forward to victory and has nearly taken this table. What say you, Ash?
Okay, so obviously we left the guns because Michael is doing a really bad job of blowing up stuff, and it's just causing me to get killed by stuff blowing up on top of me. So I thought, you know what?
You said you liked it on top.
If I'm in the middle of all of John's stuff, then, you know, when stuff blows up, it'll get both of us. So my shooting was limited to the Terminator still, because John's being very cagey and hiding. In fact, if you have a look, these guys move backwards.
They sort of sidestep.
So I took out 2 more tactical Terminators and another assault Terminator, and that is all she wrote.
Okay, so this was the end of Imperium turn 3, and a bit of a mixed bag. My Baneblade's backed up a bit, but I don't think the black one is backed up enough. There's somewhere down there behind that. There's another tank, Lehman Russ tank. He's moved around the side of the Russ, the broken ones. And my Vendetta, the 3rd one, came on, and the other one flew off the board because Michael cunningly placed all his units so that nowhere I could go would be a shot on. So the other one came on. They both beelined for the dragon as I'm trying to gain air superiority. So this is what the battlefield looks like.
I could have done that last turn, but I wasted all my time shooting you.
So my turn, firing commenced. Both 6 twin-linked glass cannons onto the dragon. As you can see, it's still there. It took 2 hull points. It's immobilized.
So I made 2 of my invuln saves.
It's immobilized. It can't move or shoot or some crazy ass crap.
And it can't shoot, and it didn't get knocked out with the immobilization.
People will not die, so
It does. It can get a hull point back, but it still can't shoot properly next turn, and it's immobilized for the rest of the game, which means it has to fly in a straight line.
So that's what the dragon's doing. I didn't put any more wounds on the Baneblade. I don't even think I fired at it. I tried to take out all the chaff. So this guy here took another hull point.
Did you find your D shot at it?
Oh yes, it did. Yes.
But I made my invuln save.
Yes, that's right. This one's taken another hull point. Can't move or shoot. This one's taken 2 hull points. Can't move or shoot. The Death Strike got killed by the knights as I try to make it up the way the field. So this Vanquisher is still untouched. And then there's a Hellbrute over there, or a Dreadnought, whichever one. That took 2 battle cannons and the massive template from the Baneblade down there, and took that out. So on my turn, I killed the Death Strike chassis, that Hellbrute, and I put a lot of pin markers. Not pin markers, that's a different game. Hull wounds on these tanks and that
I did.
dragon. Oh yeah, John fired those 2 guns over there. I put a hull point on that.
Oh, how nice your ally came to
Yeah.
Oh, shut up, he's doing a good fight.
So that's the state of the board on Imperium turn 3. Obviously Chaos have got turn 3 coming up.
That's where that blast muffle went.
This Baneblade's got 1 hull point left, and that Baneblade's about to be charged by the
I
Knight.
think it's taken 2, hadn't it?
So I've got a feeling I might be down a couple of tanks next turn.
You'll be
Let's see,
alright.
what do you got going on, John?
A bit more of the same. I did a bit of chessboard manoeuvring. There's a combat squad hiding behind here, ready to engage anything that comes around the corner. Pointless. The assault terminators who lost another one of their number and have yet to hit combat are just holding here. The tech marine has breached the door, and he's going to go and fiddle with knobs and dials and push buttons.
Woohoo!
Right, possibly a bad decision on my behalf. I moved the combat squad up to the side here and flamed in and got a couple of bolt pistol shots in. I think I maybe killed one from that.
You killed the champion in combat because
I did kill the champion.
Single
in
combat!
Yeah, the normal champion managed to destroy the Plague Marine champion. And the 2 remaining tactical terminators also charged in.
That's probably not a bad thing, because then this
Well-
dreadnought can stop picking them off.
This is also true, yeah. But I lost my sergeant and he got a boon giving him +1 strength. So he's now got a strength 10 power fists. On the Plague Marine.
I'm not sure that makes that much of a difference.
Crack missile from the guy down the end took out another Terminator. And the other crack missile on the other side put a wound on the Obliterator. Finally.
So, but on the state of this board, we still control 2 of the objectives. I say objectives, they're just the gun turrets
Yeah,
over
only
here.
one in the centre is really important for that purpose.
And John is moving in on that one. The Chaos Forces are coming next. I suspect this
Which
Chaos
is terrifying.
combat squad and that squad might disappear. But that still means you're in control over here in the middle.
Yeah, but he's got
he,
turns.
he did well by blocking off.
I got lucky with that.
It's hard to gauge how long the game will go on, because obviously it's until this board is...
It's finished, yeah.
Yeah.
Holding on.
How do you
Holding
think?
on.
How do you think it's going on? Yeah.
I thought your last term was going to be a lot worse for me. You've screwed a load of stuff though. I've got 1 whole point left, 1 whole point left, 1 whole point left. Your knight's coming up behind my Vanquisher team. So I think this turn there's a chance, depending on how good I do in close combat, I could kill both of your super heavies over there.
Yeah.
That one's only got 1 whole point. I'd better bloody kill it this turn.
5 up save.
But then we'll see. Your knight's the most dangerous thing to me now.
All right. Well, let's go on to your turn 3 then.
Okay, so end of Chaos Alliance, turn 3?
Yep.
Yeah, so this turn on the big table, my Vendetta came on here. It swooped in and it took some pot shots at Jason's Vendetta here, causing it to jink. Didn't do any damage to it, unfortunately. My Helldrake was forced to fly forwards. It vector struck over Jason's other Vendetta and managed to get 2 hull points onto it. That was quite nice, but unfortunately there was nothing in its front arc to shoot at. My knight over here, he strode forwards, fired his big melter blast cannon at the... What's that big tank called?
Shadow Sword.
Shadow Sword. It exploded in an apocalyptic explosion. Scattered that way, unfortunately, didn't hurt anything.
And because the table sort of ends here,
Yeah, it didn't even do any damage on it because Jason backed off the table so as not to hurt John.
Thank you, Jason.
He then fired his little melter gun at the Baneblade, didn't hurt it, but strode in with his giant sword and managed to do 6 hull points to it in close combat, which is quite nice, one off killing it. He turned his missile launcher on the top carapace round and did a hull point to the knight at the other end of the table. I'd spread out around their knight. I'd gone into hover mode with my Vendetta. He fired at the front, put a couple of hull points on. My Vanquisher moved to the side. I think he put a hull point on. This guy down here was having to snap fire, so he snap fired up at the Vendetta that had already been damaged, managed to take his last hull point out. It crashed to the floor. We were all excited it was going to do an explosion on the table right in the centre. Ash rolled a 1, it did nothing.
Sturdiest part of the subterranean game.
Yeah, how many 6s have you rolled?
Not very many. The Baneblade fired at various things. It put a hull point down here on one of Jason's remaining Lemon Russes. It fired, I think it tried to put a couple of hull points on that. And it also fired its giant gun at the knight. Failed to hurt the knight. Did hurt this, but luckily I made my cover save of a 6+. But a reasonably good turn. Nearly killed that one, and 4 hull points on their knight. So pretty happy there.
Killed the Vendetta.
Oh, and I killed a Vendetta as well, didn't I? So let's see what I do on my next turn. Let's see what Ash did on the little board. I think he did some exciting stuff, didn't you, Ash?
Always. So, once again, I decided that I couldn't be bothered to fire these silly guns because, you know,
it's
they're
not like
miles
they've got a
away.
super heavy on 1 hull point.
Yeah. Okay. So, as you can see, combat ended quite well. I took out the last Terminator there, and that tactical squad didn't last very long. My Chaos Lord having to issue his challenge to champion when single combat spawn as he killed him and has now turned into
21.
So shooting wise, not much happened. I did take out the missile launcher guy who was there, so that means that his long range sniping is going to be reduced. But that's about it. And I don't know what I'm going to do about it.
I was going to say, you don't appear to have the centre of the board.
This is Imperium turn 4, and it's quite in the balance. This is probably the closest game we've had in this campaign.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So, my turn. This Vendetta came back on. The Baneblade backed up a little bit. My plan was to pour all the fire into that knight. So I turned around that Lehman Russ. I parked this Lehman Russ next to Mike's Lehman Russ. And I flew the Vendetta over here, and the knight waltzed over here. And then in the shooting phase, John fired that gun plus this gun into the knight. I fired the Vendetta, the Baneblade, plus both those Lehman Russes, and I took 5 hull points off it. It's freaking got 1 left. Can you believe it? So I'm really gutted about that, but never mind.
Hello, do you remember earlier on?
Yeah. On this side, it went a little bit more interesting. The knight fired its melter into the, what was it, Eradicator, killed that, and then charged the Vanquisher, because it fired its heavy bolt, its heavy stubber at it. Charged that, blew it up, and kicked it across the battlefield, playing football with it. So that was destroyed. So I got rid of that. I got rid of the Eradicator. I got 5 hull points on that. But that is pretty much the extent of what I did on my turn. And it's obviously Mike's turn next, and I got a feeling...
We were adding up, it's pretty balanced on this top board at the minute.
Yeah, because my Baneblade's basically dead. I mean, but it's whether or not Mike was willing to risk his knight to sword up, causing it to blow up and take his knight out. Maybe, if I'm lucky. I said at the beginning of the turn, didn't I? I said the knight's gonna die,
Yeah.
the Eradicator's gonna die, the
You killed 2 of the 4 things you thought were going to die.
So, yeah, that's what. It's really in the balance. I'm not sure I've got enough things left.
These 2 guns that John's on, they're really damaging guns.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I haven't. Yes, I have them, and yes, I've been firing them. But have they actually done enough?
Well, they're basically nickel and diming.
On that night that turn.
Yeah, they've been hitting. Yeah,
But
I have 2 hull points in line with that.
I think the problem you've got a Baneblade with 4 hull points left. I mean,
5 left. It's on 4.
5, yeah. So
yeah, that's the most powerful super heavy left because everything else is pretty damaged.
I mean, I've only got 2 hull points left on my knight, and my Baneblade's got 1.
Yeah.
Once those 2 are taken out, and they could very well be taken out in your next turn. That's me.
Yeah, then you're looking a bit sparse.
Putting my head between my legs, kissing my ass goodbye.
Yeah.
All right, John, tell us a bit what you did.
Stuff happened. Things happened. Obviously, you will have seen from the end of last turn, the cow's turn, the assaults that had ongoing are finished. So what I did is I'm trying to mitigate lines of fire. So the squad in the back, they've just consolidated to hold that turret. That's Michael's penis.
Right here.
that secondary combat squad, they've pulled in to try and limit damage next turn. The Tech Marine has moved forward. He just opened the door and he came round the corner. He's just here. That's a Tech Marine.
Why is he wearing blue armour?
It was funny now that you're talking about this central square. I shot the dragon. I killed the dragon, and it crashed
It did, right
onto the
centre.
top of the center. Yeah, and Ash rolled a 2, which is +1 cover save for the central.
Yeah, basically I rolled a 1 when something landed there on our turn, and could have wiped out a fair portion there. And I rolled a 2.
Dust fell from the ceiling.
Yeah.
So basically, the second impact weakened it a little bit.
There's 1 lone plague marine hiding left of that unit of. There was 5 at the time. I flamed and plasmaed it with the old servo harness, the Doc Ock effect.
And you also got a charge down there, didn't you?
Yes, I was umming and ahhing about it, but then with a rules clarification that slow and purposeful cannot do Overwatch, I decided to charge. Killed 1 a blip to no wounds back. And then this unit that was stacked up behind like a really sort of dodgy Rainbow Six style maneuver, have moved around the corner.
And that's also my crotch.
Don't worry, it's covered by the Zone Mortalis.
Yeah, Zone Mortalis. Censoring, saving people's eyesight.
So there we go. That's the state of Imperium turn 3. So 4 rather. Yeah. So it's looking dodgy. Remember, the game ends if there's no more vehicles left on this board for one of the other sides.
Yep.
And the bonus is whoever controls that objective will get a bonus for the next game. So it's pretty much in the balance. Let's see what the chaos can bring.
End of Chaos turn 4. It was a pretty good turn on this top board for myself. First of all, Vendetta moved forward, fired at Jace's Vendetta, caused it to jink, did no damage. Over here, my Vendetta still in hover mode, swung round behind the knight. Jason decided to put your shield to the front still. So I fired at the back. Unfortunately, I only got one hit through. I knocked off a whole point, putting them on 1 whole point remaining. I then fired at him with this, all of the guns over there, and I think that's all I've got on the table. The last shot hit from his last gun managed to knock Jason's whole point off. He mistakenly swapped dice and failed his 4-up save. It bounced everything from the Baneblade. No problem with his 4-up. So he collapsed, exploded forwards, but did a very meek explosion, which caused more dust to fall in the chamber below, protecting some more of John's models. Over here, my knight sidlord sideways, spun round, fired his melter blast over at the Baneblade. Single shot, bang! It went off in a massive explosion. Scat forward, not enough to get above the bottom table though, so no damage done there. And I forgot to attempt to charge and fire his other guns. Oh well, that's a bit late now. I was just too excited. And that was what happened on the top table. Let's see what happens down here with Ash.
Okay, so down here, this combat was ongoing, and John rolled epically badly in that he rolled 4 1s.
4 1s to hit.
And missed completely, whereas I managed to retaliate and kill 1. Over here, annoyingly, I would have had a beautiful melter shot on the Tech Marine. They probably would have looked out CERN or that malarkey, but unfortunately I failed to kill 1 servitor, which I needed to, so I had to multi-gun him. These guys are working to get round on the rear. Hey. And over here, the Chaos Lord has gone, hug me, and basically ate half the squad, and also means that they
The
can't
gods
fire the
gifted him
gun.
with a much faster form because he was being too slow up the table. They're like,
And-
move faster,
And more aggressive.
Yeah.
And a lot more aggressive, yes, that's true. And that is basically all that happened. As you see, John is hiding in that corner there, and he...
Show where the knight's standing.
Yeah,
The knight is standing directly above them.
So
Just
there's,
because I fear he may not have long to
so there's the
live.
knight, and there's those guys. So if they do decide to shoot that gun, they are possibly killing themselves. Fingers crossed.
Biggest choice they have to make. Do they have to shoot that gun of his arse?
And John is still in a good position, holding
Yeah.
that.
Worried about
sadly.
that central thing. Want to
All right.
keep Beyblade alive.
So this was Imperium turn 5, I think. And, well, there's nothing to tell. Next turn.
You know what it says, the cunning stories of me making saves.
What happened was, after my Imperial Guard tank commanders saw the Baneblade and the Knight go up in flames, they decided to surrender.
They pooped their pants and ran away.
Right, so we set up the situation. So I got 2 Lehman Russ tanks, just in case, plus that gun at the back there from John's underground mole rats. This Vendetta streamlined over to there. This one went into hover mode and aiming at the Baneblade. I was thinking, if I can take out that thing with, 6 last cannon shots hitting on 6s, and then those 3 will be enough to take out that last point on that. And if one of those 2 take it out early, then that turret can turn around and maybe fire on the Baneblade.
It seemed like solid tactics to my
Yeah,
mind.
but unfortunately, it all came tough. First of all, that Lehman Russ fired over there, got a hit. He made his 6-up save.
Cover save for the win. The
one-
dust from the dusty plain.
That one did nothing. That did nothing. This did nothing.
Almost.
That
I
did
made my
nothing.
save again, didn't I?
Almost got it.
So there you go. My turn was absolute 0. I didn't even cause a hull point or nothing.
No.
Just fluffed it horribly. And
Luckily, John made up for that on the lower table, I'm suspecting.
No, I really did.
The loads,
So the only thing that really happened, there's combat here continuing from last turn. We just sort of stroked each other.
Yeah, I hit him, but he's almost saved. And
Well, that lord stopped you from firing that other gun.
Yeah, it did. Yeah,
Yeah,
it could have
yeah,
been
good
quite
job.
important. These have just manoeuvred themselves to make a line in between themselves. Tech Marine's gone back into the
I
room.
really needed to win that combat.
Yes.
There. Unfortunately, I didn't.
One assault terminator
If I had, then I
sergeant
would've-
versus
John's combat over there in the last turn. He rolled 4 attacks and rolled 4 ones.
Pretty bad. I hit this turn. I wounded once, but he
Okay.
saved with a feel no pain. Had 2 on return, which wounded, but I just about saved. I really don't want that obliterator to get set loose.
I needed that obliterator loose.
A plasma cannon shot would go nice in there.
Yes, it bloody well would.
Yep.
And that's it.
So
that's-
going to be.
That's
Three
our
turns.
You guys
horrible.
are still controlling the central thing, and it's
Yeah.
not looking likely we'll take it this turn.
Which is nice, but
What's interesting though is that if Michael wipes me out up here, that'll end the game, and we will be in control of the relay.
Do you know what
Yeah.
annoyingly screwed me over? This little extra bit here.
It took so long for you to
I've
get
had to go
out.
round rather than through.
Well, you did block up the only other row
Yeah,
with
with
the
the
dreadnought.
Hey, that wasn't part of the plan. That was not part of the plan.
That was a pretty solid shot from that rocket launcher.
Yes, it was.
This is the carnage that's going on here. I love the idea of planes flying above the tanks and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really cinematic.
Unfortunately, I wish the planes were armed with ammunition.
Not enough for guns.
Alright, so let's go to their turn 5. Might be the last turn, who knows?
You blew up that door.
Okay, I'm told this is turn 5 for Chaos. God. So, top board. Not the most exciting of turns. I've kind of followed on from Jason and didn't do a whole lot. My knight.
You don't have a lot of firepower.
Yeah. my knight here, flush from success of not dying last turn, ran this way and melted and then smashed up with his big sword a Rust tank. This tank in the middle got shot once by Ishmael's big blast cannon and also got shot by another couple of things, but he's got camo nets on the dust from the field, give him a 5+ save, so he managed to survive. I made both the Vendettas jink, and this one's lost a whole point through combined fire from the 2 Vendettas and the Baneblade over there. And that's all that I did on my turn. So let's see what Ash did. Hopefully something more exciting.
Yeah. No, my turn was epically exciting, consisting of manoeuvring to there, messing up slightly by not moving that guy slightly closer, because it would have meant that he would have had a hard time manoeuvring. My lord managed to kill the last guy and is now running off this way. And these two, we're not quite sure whether they're tired, exhausted, or just becoming best buddies, because I don't think they want to kill each other.
It's like watching 2 wrestlers who are going to hug you.
Yeah. No, the 2 boxers, yeah.
Yeah, 2 boxers are just too knackered to unclench.
Yeah. And obviously, he's just, doing nothing.
Cool.
Alright, so this is the end of Imperium turn 6, I think. Nothing changed. It's still exact same the way it was off the turn 5.
You're still here.
Yeah, everything is still here, as I missed. That fired into the rear. He's got his shields up in the rear, which he saved. This hit him and failed to wound him. Last cannon failed to hit. 6 twin-linked snap-firing last cannons into the Baneblade. All missed. End of turn for me. Nothing. No wounds. No. Not even scaring anyone.
I made a shield save versus John again.
So that's me. What do you do, man?
not a lot. I've got like 8 models.
You put a wound on my obliterator
They
finally.
had a little fight. I saved 2 wounds that he scored on me and did a wound on the oblit. He went back inside to try and reduce any potential fields of fire on him to hold off for 1 more turn.
Close the blast door! Close the blast
God, you broke
They
it,
stayed
didn't
there.
you?
I kind of ripped it off the hinges.
I messed. I
The
shouldn't have gone that way, I
last
should have gone this way,
stand,
then I would have
the
been able to run
5
that way, maybe.
tactical squad members holding their line.
Did you kill anything with your shoot face?
No.
Nothing.
So that's the end of our turn 6. Onto Imperium. No, Chaos Allies turn 6. Okay, so that was the end of Imperium turn, or Chaos Allies turn 6. So 6 turns, and they have come up with a victory.
Yeah. So what did I do? I positioned my 2 Vendettas to get shots on Jason's 2 Vendettas. Jace jinked with them both, but combined fire from both of those and the Baneblade took out both of the Vendettas, and this Demolish also fired.
Made you work for it though.
I did, yeah. It came down to the last thing. The Knight assaulted and killed. This was the last thing that happened.
And he also used
literally
his
the
missile
last
launcher,
shot
yeah.
took that out. So close to not going on. I think this board was won by this surviving 2 turns where it really shouldn't have done.
So gutted, man. One wound
Yeah.
there. Actually, technically 3 turns because that turn that it took all the wounds couldn't
Yeah, that's it. You
finish
could
off.
have easily killed it
Yeah.
then as well.
So basically, what happens now is they get to keep one of these units. Mike says he might keep the knight for the final battle.
Yeah, just because it's one of my favourite models, and the final battle is going to be a big apocalypse game, probably a 12-foot table if I can fit it in here, or if we can fit it at Jason's house. So it'll be 5,000 points aside, so each player 2,500 points. So we get a 3 unit, and I'm thinking the knight might come along to the party.
With all the wounds on it, yeah.
No, it gets repaired.
There's
all
no,
the cultists will
there's no time
swarm
for
up it.
repairing, man. Right, what happened here on your guys' turn?
What'd you do, Ash?
Sadly, I wasn't able to oust.
Where's the
Not enough
the
time.
obliterator?
Not
obliterator
enough
died.
time.
Just not enough time.
Did he
My-
die?
Yep.
Yeah. The obliterator died. Sadly.
Sergeant was going to come round the corner.
He was going to run around the corner and just stand there possibly and
Yeah.
go, "You shall not pass." And then but I'm
Yeah, so you even another turn, you are unlikely to take it.
So we got a morale victory in terms of we control
Yeah,
the,
well, we get a bonus for the final game, but you got a big bonus for the fourth game.
for the next game, yeah.
my Chaos Lord could have gotten there.
That was terrifying, that thing.
Yeah, he was much further
Yeah,
along, wasn't he?
the Lord was scary because he mostly would
Tough.
never have been. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's so tough.
But this thing's so fast.
But that thing was in my face.
Yeah, Chaos Spawn is surprisingly really good.
It was good.
But it's had a surprisingly large number of men left.
Well, it's a very chess-like game. You guys were saying earlier.
Yeah,
There's overtime
very
because
much
there's
so.
you have to walk out into the lines of fire, so
Yeah.
you
So
just
much.
generally you kind of like slowly move up and then sprint round corners.
Yeah,
and
there was
things.
a lot of positioning here. This took forever, and
Yeah, your immobilised dreadnought really cut down your lines of approach.
I
didn't
got
they?
lucky with that. I didn't get lucky with the assault terminators because your obliterators obliterated them. But they got revenge finally in the end.
But you were rewarded for you pushed for the centre first.
Well,
You can like
that
put
was
him out
the
into the
intention.
danger.
I was really intending on that far flank. I thought it's only 2 obliterators. I can have them
Yeah.
done and have another gun, but that didn't
A gun on their
These
line
guys
as
were
well.
valiant, they-
That was the intention, but then I also thought that these guys were going to hold the gun that I was holding. But he focused. It's no, it wasn't Ash's fault.
It's brilliant that the combat squads, the Marines can split down into the combat
That
squads.
was
Yeah.
a
'Cause-
benefit.
Because those 4 Marines there would have done not much during the game, but
Hmm.
holding that gun, nickel and diming your vehicles,
Yeah.
was really, really worth it.
And much as I complained, Ash was correct. All of his units were too valuable to leave back there.
Yeah.
If he'd have got some cultists or something like that, they could have sat there and guarded them. But
This-
can't leave 2 obliterators firing.
Ironically, him turning
gun.
into the spawn cost us that gun,
Yeah,
which could have been a bit
Yeah,
more
I think
useful.
that's a
Yeah.
massive point because that gun would have easily taken out the knight. They're such powerful
You
weapons.
say that, but
Well, yeah.
you
Yeah.
did an awful lot of saving.
But I'd have to split my shield. My shield protected it. Every
And
turn.
that gun would have been in your non-shielded arc.
Exactly, yeah.
So that was I must admit that was really cool.
Really enjoyed that.
It was so tense. I mean, I was saying to Mike just before I think our 4th turn, I was like, I'm really nervous here with your turn because I was just like, I need some units to survive just so I can
I
put
thought
some
we were
pressure
playing
on.
that turn where I put everything into your Stormblade
Shadow
hammer
sword.
thing. Shadow sword. That turn where I fired everything at it and it didn't die. I thought, no, this is I'm toast now. But then in return, you didn't kill me, so
It just went back and forth, didn't it?
yep.
And I love the fact that what they were doing down there also infected our game. Like
Yeah.
those 2 guns were just firing along.
Yeah, we were trying to get exploders. Neither of us were rolling exploders up.
No, yeah.
It's like, and we damage, and it's a 1 and a 2
Man
again.
of the match. There are men of the match.
And I like the fact
Voted
as
by
well
the
that we
opponent.
ended with the objective.
Yep.
But you guys have actually technically won because you control the whole battlefield.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
these Marines have got a escape plane, I hope, because they're not getting out through here.
That Terminator's going to teleport out or something.
Yeah.
2 more turns.
2 more, yeah, you weren't getting 2 more.
That would have done it.
Yeah, definitely. If that obliterate, if it hadn't survived,
But to be
if it
fair,
hadn't died, I needed 1 turn
If I'd have moved 6 from there,
because you
let's just
were
theoretically,
back
I was
there.
on the
Right?
corner, so 6 gets me to there.
Yeah.
And then say I run.
So
to-
theorising, you know.
That works.
Yeah.
But, okay,
that's
that's
You can't
fine.
move past
But then
you.
what you could have done, instead of, you could have either shot me to death, which would have been pointless, if you'd have just moved up and assaulted with as many units as you could have got.
I
Killed me.
was kind of hoping to solve them. I
Yeah,
didn't
and then-
expect to.
And then
Then
consolidate in
consolidate,
to
yeah.
just contest it if nothing
I
else.
wasn't actually expecting to wipe out all of them.
Yeah,
because
epic.
How are those Marines getting out of there?
Yeah.
They're not.
He doesn't even know what's coming.
He's just going to fix the door.
It's the teleport Homer.
He's just gonna go shut the door. Whereas they've seen like this whole tide of evil coming round this way. Like,
I'm gonna put a
back
little
into
comment
it.
underneath saying, "I hate you."
So here's a question, a very, very important question, Jason.
What happened?
Which one do you hate more?
No, it's definitely the budgie.
He'll be back next game, Jason.
Oh
Okay.
god.
Most
Well,
enjoyable.
Yeah, I enjoyed that game. I was really looking forward to this game for a while, so that we could play.
Yeah, we've
'cause
been a bit delayed on this one.
I love the idea of the two-table thing with things affecting each other. I mean, our side didn't affect your guys' side so much because we couldn't blow up anything or even crash our birds into the floor.
Yeah. One turn, wasn't there, where
Yeah.
something happened?
Well, I lost the Terminator and I lost the reporter cannon, which could have.
John,
Collapsing
John,
secret.
did you remember your +1 cover save in that middle top?
There was no point. It was all combat.
Yeah. Cover, what's this?
So the next game in the campaign is going to be, I think it's called Relic Hunt, and it's going to be there. We've got lots of poker chips. I think there are 12 of them, but 3 of them have got an X marked on the back. And when you control said poker chip at the end of your turn, you get to look at it and see if it's an X. And it's the people that control the X's at the end of the game. So you've got to try and spread out over the board, control as many objectives as you can until you can see what they are, and then keep control of them. And then if you manage to control the end of the game, you will get these relics, which in the final battle, which is about, we're trying to summon the Demon Lord Angrath, and you guys are trying to banish him back to the demon plane. You'll have these relics, which will give you powers you can use during that final battle.
I believe the demon plane is actually called the War.
Oh yeah, sorry,
So that-
the war.
The War.
And because we control that objective, we get to look at 3
You get
objectives.
to look at 3 at the start of the game, so probably you'll look at one's arse side of the table or one
Give some inside information,
so,
yeah.
so you'll know where you don't want to go.
Cool.
You want to daft.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. That
Thanks,
was a really,
everybody.
really good
It
game.
was a good game.
Really tense. I really enjoyed that. And we'll see you guys on the next gaming night. Thanks, guys.